Sustainability Officer for Athens-Clarke County. I know you're going to be devastated to find out I did not bring you a jar of hazardous waste tonight, but we've got a few other things for us to talk about. The good news for all of us involved is that if this goes well, it'll take less than 20 minutes of your time between the two projects. Tonight we are requesting $3.5 million to increase the use of renewable energy that is produced or used at our facilities. One thing that you're really going to have me hammer home is that we are a project that offers savings, and those savings are in the general tax side of things. We also have deferred or offsets of the capital budget. There are two capital items that this project would touch on. One of those is just general facility maintenance. That'll become very important in this proposal. And the other is there's currently a capital line item to put renewable energy on facilities. And what I'm proposing is that if you choose to fund this, that could be offset or deferred. And there are no staff required as a part of this. So it's pretty simple. What are we offering? It's the warm and fuzzies, right? So it's healthy communities and decreasing cost, and then really hammering home on having high quality facilities that are built to last, as most of them are. The number one question I get in my job when it surrounds renewable energy is, hey, is solar even affordable? And so the question I have to follow up with is, usually they'll say, well, I looked into it on my house, it was way too much money. And I have to say, well, when did you look into it? Oh, 2010, 2011, a few years ago. The reality is that the market has been in a very transformative mode. It is getting cheaper all the time. Even when the more recent tariffs were put on foreign-produced panels, all the foreign suppliers magically cut the price of their panels by the cost of that tariff, and we've actually seen prices continue to decrease a bit. Athens-Clarke County systems have a positive return on investment. So I am not advancing the installation of systems that don't return money positively for our taxpayers. And we have to look at utility prices are increasing. On average in Georgia, utilities go up about 2.5% per year, although our elected body at the state has acknowledged a 10% jump when the nuclear plant comes online. So every watt and dollar we offset before then, or even after then, takes away and puts it into a hedge against inflation. Am I only talking solar? The answer is no. There are several forms of renewable energy that you'll see here. Some of which have been deployed at county facilities, and some that we're keeping our eye on, trying to see when do they serve a market viability and when do they become functional for our facilities. I'd say energy storage is certainly one of those. It is currently following the solar panel path on a decreasing cost. What has the county done so far? Well, you'll see here, I think we have around 11 installations of renewable energy systems at county facilities. Those include geothermal HVAC systems at 3 facilities, a landfill gas energy plant that takes the methane that naturally comes out of the landfill, burns it, and converts it to energy to power people's homes. And then we have a handful of solar facilities. What is the impact of SPLOST 11? So there is a SPLOST 11 project called the Energy Sustainability Fund. It earmarked about $970,000. It can be used for energy conservation, renewable energy, transportation elements, things like electric car charging stations or enhancements to our fleet. And our office has become almost maniacal in tracking what's happening with energy, both where is it being used and where are those dollars being saved. So right now we are approaching $400,000 of avoided cost, and you can see how quickly that steps up when we start to pour those SPLOST dollars onto this. One reason that you don't see a lot of activity prior to 2017 is that this is a particular SPLOST project that was back-tiered, so the money really wasn't becoming available in significant amounts until recently. What have we done with those SPLOST dollars? Well, I'm happy to announce that today we were notified that we received another $50,000 in rebates to deploy solar at Rock Springs Community Center. That's from the state. But combined with that, we have a total of $120,000 we've leveraged out of that SPLOST account. 2 significant grants for solar, and then we're hammering on energy rebates anywhere we're doing bulbs or any other activity that conserves energy. There's also the opportunity to tap into private sector dollars. So there's a law that allows anybody with private money to come and install renewable energy on a government facility or any other place where they can get an agreement and sell the energy. And this is attractive to us because we're not a taxable entity, nor do we take depreciation. So we have to pay 100 cents on the dollar for our renewable energy systems, where a private investor tends to pay around 50 to 55 cents on the dollar. So this creates a long-term relationship. There's 2 cities that have already done this. But the most important thing is, before we enter a 20, 25-year relationship with somebody to procure energy, we need to be really sure that the building's going to stay there and that the building's in a condition to sustain energy production there. And I'll go into that here in a second. Our office has mapped where solar can be deployed. We use 12 criteria. We look at the cost of energy, the quality of the roof, the location of the building, how it's used. Is it used at night? Is it used on weekends? That all comes into a return on investment. And what we have found is that roof integrity is the single biggest determining factor of whether or not our buildings are suitable. So I want to repeat that. Economic viability is there for almost every project. We can get those return on investments that are more aggressive than the life of the system. What we don't have, in many cases, is a quality roof that is ready to accept renewable energy. So what does it look like? These are the places where we have renewable energy present within the county. These are the sites that we've determined can go ahead today and receive solar systems if that's the case. It's 12 locations, about 475 kilowatts of demand. We have these marginal properties, and that brings us to almost double the demand and almost double the sites. These are sites where we can go ahead and put renewable energy systems on the roof, but the reality is that the roof's probably not going to last as long as the system, and so that's not the best use of our taxpayers' dollars. And then we have the red sites. These are our known problem children. These are places where we have great demand, but what we don't have is a roof that's ready. A perfect example of this is the library was able to secure a $100,000 grant to do renewable energy. When it came time to do the solar, we find that lo and behold, the roof is waterproof, it's functioning as a roof, but before we put solar on it, it needs $200,000 in improvements. So there we are with this fantastic roof, lots of surface area, lots of southern exposure, perfect daytime energy demands, and I can't recommend that we put renewable energy on the roof until we take care of that. So what would it look like if you decided to allocate money? The first thing we would do is start to go through both sites and technologies. We would look at, okay, what is the viability of putting like a biogas system at the water treatment plant? Or what buildings offer the best return on investment when paired with solar? We would then start to see, well, what improvements are needed at those facilities? Do we need to do a bit more energy conservation before we dive into it? Do we need to improve the roof? Do we need to improve the electrical system? Do we need to upgrade the stormwater? We then deploy those dollars, looking to leverage SPLOST funding wherever we can, both from the private sector and through grants and rebates. And then we just sit back and have the money rain down on us from all the stuff we didn't spend. So why SPLOST? The first thing is right now, whether you like it or not, you're paying for Athens-Clarke County energy use, and every single person in this community does, through property taxes and rents that are levied on them that reflect their landlord's property taxes. We also have those hidden costs of energy. So your water bill, a huge cost of producing water in this county is the $3 million a year we spend on energy to produce the water in the county. And then, of course, the other enterprise funds. So the landfill is an example of a place that uses energy. We need significant capital funding to do it. I've given you an example of the library where we had some grant money ready to go and it fell short because of the state of the buildings. And then we don't have those tax credits. And then, of course, I love the fact that it decreases operating cost. In summary, financially now we're ready. I couldn't tell you that in 2011. We have projects that are in the hopper. We put money on them. We can take those systems live. This protects the environment and it protects our citizens from increasing utility rates. And it decreases the operating expense of the unified government. Most importantly, this stewards renewable existing resources. So when I talk about things like roofs and electrical systems, those are on the very buildings you already use. These are the libraries. These are the community centers. These are the parks. And so that's where we would go with this. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Since Landry did a solar garden, they're lucky though because they had space. Are there other buildings that, because the roofs aren't up to par, that you could do that instead?
So some of those yellow dots that I showed you on the map are indicative of places that maybe the roof is not suitable, but there is ground mount space. One thing we need to be careful about with ground mount, that it's an easier decision to make with a roof, is we're tying up space for 25 years. That means no parking, no sidewalks, no building expansions. We need to be really sure that we don't need that space when we put that there. Yes, sir.
Andrew, what about new county buildings that are potentially part of SPLOST, such as the Judicial Center?
They are fantastic candidates for renewable energy, and there's two reasons why. First, the roof is going to be in good condition. It's going to be brand new. Secondly, they're going to be more energy efficient than some of our current building stock. Those are two kind of magic factors that make renewable energy viable. So yes, those would be candidates, and in fact, we took SPLOST $11 and are putting renewable energy on the new cooperative extension building and the new fire station for those very reasons.
Well, the Judicial Center, for example, wouldn't it be more economical to build that into the initial cost of that building rather than as an add-on?
Well, so that's exactly what we do. It's just a matter of tapping different SPLOST sources. So, but both of those two facilities I just told you, it's being done with construction. What the SPLOST office has done is we put a line item in the bid that says expect that you're going to have to install a renewable energy system of a certain value. We then screen qualified candidates to do that and hook them up with the general contractor. So that ensures that we have people that are knowledgeable about renewable energy, working on renewable energy, and yet we still are able to get value from general contractors. So to answer your fundamental question, should it be on the Judicial Center? Yes. Is it covered by the current budget? I don't know. I know that those budgets are pretty lean according to our staff, and so by allocating a project like this, you can guarantee that we would have resources to do it.
It looks as though, and I'm just doing some quick calculations here, that the ROI on this $3.5 million that you're requesting would be between 12 and 15 years.
Yes.
Which seems very legitimate. I mean, I just wanted to mention that.
It's about 13 years, and that's based off of some experience we have doing these systems. Just to give you an understanding, the systems are warranted for 25 years. There are renewable energy systems that are in their 40th year of production. So every building is different with an ROI and the exact type of energy you would put there and the size of it.
Other questions? All right, thanks, Andrew.
All right, I'll be back.